To you, why don't you seize this opportunity and hold on to him tightly? Seeing that I didn't say anything, she said with a bit of disappointment. I heard that you were choosing a wedding dress and buying a ring to force him to marry you before. Why are you hiding here and sulking now? If you give up just because of a little setback, what can you achieve? Listen to Mom. Don't be impulsive. How many young masters from wealthy families are willing to settle down at a young age? Marriage is a business as long as he signs the contract. I suddenly interrupted her. Then when you helped Luna back then, were you also using me as a business deal? Mom was stunned. Then her guilt turned into anger. Selena, is this how you talk to your mother? When did I ever use you as a business deal? I smiled when Luna bullied me. You chose to pretend to be deaf and mute. I collected the materials to report Luna to the school, but you secretly destroyed them. From that moment on, I had already decided that I didn't have a mother anymore. Mom bent down as if she had been stabbed. She pointed at me tremblingly. I did it all for your own good. Few reported Luna. How could we two continue to stay in the Asiel family? I tried every way to earn more money. Wasn't it all for you? I said calmly, I don't want your money. The person I love is dead. What's the use of having money? Mom might have cried. She was old. I was the only blood relative she had in this world. Yet I refused to forgive her. I went into the inner room, closed the door, and hugged the little rabbit that James gave me. Only you will stand firmly by my side. So I don't want anyone except you. Mom stood outside for a long time. Finally she left. Before leaving she left me a gift. I originally prepared this in case Aziel wanted to dump me. One day I could use this to blackmail him, to give me more property. Now forget it. There's no one to inherit the extra money anyway. So I'll give this to you. After she left I opened the door. When I saw clearly the gift she left, I started trembling all over. It was a string of Laoshan sandalwood Buddhist beads and a USB flash drive. I picked up the string of Buddhist beads tremblingly. The string had been broken and then mended. I counted them. There were 13 beads in total. The number of beads in this kind of bracelet is particular. There's no such thing as 13 beads. The only possibility was that some beads were missing. I knew where they were lost. Among the evidence of James' car accident, there was a blood-stained Laoshan sandalwood bead. Trembling, I inserted the USB flash drive into the computer. There was a photo and a recording. Inside the photo showed Luna and her father worshipping the Buddha together. She was wearing this string of Laosan sandalwood Buddhist beads on her hand, and the moment I clicked on the recording, Luna's voice rang out. Dad, help me. I think I hit someone. It was like a basin of ice. Water being poured over my head. The blood in my body ran cold. The KTV is always so lively. There are countless unjust cases, pains, partings, and deaths in the outside world. But once you step inside here, there are only alcohol, music, and a life of luxury and dissipation. It really makes people want to indulge themselves all the time. I pushed open the heavy door of the private room. The moment the people inside saw me, they were all stunned. Damn it. Why is it her? How shameless. She broke up and now comes back to pester him again. Ronan is already with Luna. This woman wants to be a mistress again by coming back. It's really hilarious. The one with the loudest voice in the lead was Finn. Luna sat there with a wine glass in her hand, not saying a word, with a look of watching a good show in her eyes. I ignored everyone's gazes and just walked slowly to Ronan's front. He didn't look at me and didn't say a word either. The light in the private room flickered across his face. I said, Ronan, I'm sorry. He didn't move. I took a deep breath. Forgive me, okay? I won't make trouble anymore in the future. I really can't live without you. Tears fell down and one of them dropped on Ronald's leg. He seemed to be scalded. Just as Ronald turned his head to look at me, his phone suddenly rang. He took a look at me and said in a cold, "Wait for me here." After saying that, he took his phone and went out. I sat there uncomfortably. All the people in the private room were Ronan's friends, and my anxiety disorder soon flared up. Luna had been ignoring me while drinking all along, acting as if she couldn't see me. It wasn't until I got up that she came over and grabbed me. Don't go. Since you're here, we're all friends. Let's play together. Luna handed me a glass of wine. Come on, cheers. It was a full glass of whiskey, with a huge ice ball floating in it. Even just holding the glass for a few seconds, my hand was already freezing cold. I couldn't eat or drink anything cold. Since I was a child. Ronan knew that. Luna also knew that. Finn saw that I didn't move with the glass in my hand, and started complaining loudly. Why don't you drink? Won't you even give Luna this bit of face? Immediately there was a chorus of jeering. Luna was kind enough to play with her, but she's slapping Luna in the face instead. Hey, she's just jealous. She's quarreled with Ronan so many times. Because of Luna. This time, they even broke up. And now she's come back with her tail between her legs. Luna looked at me with a smile. Her face was beautiful, and there was no string of Laoshan sandalwood, Buddhist beads on her wrist. That thing had warded off a disaster for her once. It was stained with James' blood, and couldn't be worn anymore. I tilted my head back, and gulped down the whole glass of wine. Luna was stunned for a moment and then laughed. Didn't you say you couldn't drink before? I think you can drink quite well now. She started inviting me to play games. After staying in the crowd for a long time, my hands soon started shaking. Besides, I wasn't familiar with the drinking games at the table, and I lost every time. One glass of wine after another was poured down, and my consciousness gradually became blurred. I heard a distant voice beside me. It was Luna's laughter. Finn, how long have you been single? 2 weeks, sister. Aren't you lonely then? Of course I'm lonely. How could I not be? But there are fewer and fewer good-looking girls. These days they all look like monsters without makeup. What do you think of Selena? Selena is definitely good-looking. But it's not right, sister. After all, she belongs to Ronan. What do you mean by belonging to Ronan? Ronan has never taken her seriously. Luna said, don't worry. I'll cover for you if anything happens. Perhaps because he had drunk too much wine. Finn became bolder. He came up and pulled me. Then thank you, Luna. I was pulled up from the sofa by him, but almost instantly I fell back again. There was a loud noise of a wine bottle shattering, accompanied by Finn's shrill scream. It was Ronan. He held a mobile phone in one hand expressionlessly, and a broken wine bottle in the other. Finn covered his head and fell to the ground screaming. Luna's face turned pale. She said, Ronan. Ronan didn't look at Luna. He quickly walked up to me. I was picked up and fell into a warm embrace. Selena, Selena. Are you okay? I heard the man's voice asking anxiously. I'll be okay, James. When I lost consciousness, I was still tightly holding the ring, engraved with the initials. Each letter is more eternal than diamonds. I slept for a long time and had a long dream. In the dream, James happily bought the little rabbit with the blue apron, and then carefully studied how to hide the diamond ring in the pocket of the little apron. He walked out of the store with infinite hope, until a car sped over, and everything came to an abrupt end. James the First woke up calling his name, covered in cold sweat. In front of me was Ronan's face. He looked at me with concern and anxiety, but the moment he saw me open my eyes, he quickly restrained his expression and became cold, unreserved. What kind of nightmare scared you like this? I huddled under the quilt, and tears slowly and belatedly covered my face. I dreamed. I covered my face and started trembling. I dreamed that James didn't want me anymore. Ronan's figure froze slightly. He walked over slowly and hugged me into his arms. You're so afraid that I don't want you, yet you still quarreled with me. He also. I just took my eyes off you for a moment, and you gulped down a whole glass of ice-cold wine. Do you think your life is too long? I lowered my head and let him scold me. After a long while I said in a low, you asked me to wait for you inside. I was afraid that if I didn't drink, I wouldn't be able to wait for you. Ronan was silent. After a long while he threw out a, you're so stupid, and got up to smoke outside. The nurse came in to adjust the drip for me and smiled. And your fiancé was so worried about you. He hardly slept these 2 days. When he was waiting outside, he kept wearing your engagement ring on his hand and rubbing it repeatedly. The nurse smiled and sighed. He really cares about you a lot. He was holding the pair of rings customized by James. After Ronan came back from smoking, he saw me staring at the ring on his hand. What this? It doesn't seem suitable for you. I chose my words carefully. Fortunately, he took it off quickly and threw it to me. Indeed, not suitable. It's an old style from many years ago. He took out his phone and transferred money to me. Go and pick out a new pair. The engraving design of this one is very nice. Keep it the same. Of course it's nice. Because it was designed by James and me together. I carefully put the ring away. And then looked up and smiled obediently at him. Does this mean you've agreed to marry me? Ronan paused for a moment. And walked to the balcony of the ward. And lit a cigarette. The firelight shone on his side. Face flickering on and off. And his voice came faintly. Yes, I've agreed. The wedding was officially put on the agenda. I needed to be hospitalized because of gastroenteritis. So Ronan took care of most of the affairs. From the venue to the bouquet. He carefully arranged everything. And came to ask about my preferences from time to time. Sometimes I had the illusion that he really loved me. But it was just an illusion after all. The name on one of the invitations wasn't written. Clearly when I took it to ask Ronan. I heard his conversation with his friend. Outside the door. Finn had gauze wrapped around his head and was full of. Ronan, are you really going to marry Selena? Congratulations. Ronan paused for a moment and sneered. How could that be possible? Her temper has been spoiled by me. She wants to break up whenever she wants. And wants to get married whenever she wants. What does she take me for? Finn was filled with righteous indignation. That's right. What does she take our Ronan for? Does she think he's at her beck and call? Ronan's face turned cold as he looked at Finn. Finn was so scared that he quickly shut up. Ronan took a sip of wine. So I have to teach her a lesson to make her behave. This was his punishment for me. He wanted to leave me at the wedding venue. To get revenge on me. For dumping him in front of so many people before. I didn't go in and turned around and left. Ronan came to the hospital to see me very late. However, the ward was empty and there was no one there. Ronan suddenly panicked. He grabbed the nurse. Where is she? The nurse, I don't know. She was still here in the afternoon. By the time I arrived at the hospital, Ronan had gone crazy with anxiety. All the doctors and nurses were affected by his anger. And were trembling as they busily tried to find me. Ronan was on the phone with his subordinate. Dispatch the cars and check the surveillance. Futigino authority. Who said there's no authority? Call. Johan from the Public Security Bureau. Ronan. I called him softly. He froze and turned around to look at me. I thought he would lose his temper. But he just rushed over and hugged me tightly. Where have you been? He said, his voice low and a bit shaky. I went to visit James' grave. Today is his birthday. And I bought a cake to accompany him. He liked blowing out the candles but hated sweet things. So every time the cake ended up in my stomach, I always complained. Having a birthday for you is making me so fat. Fortunately this time, the way we celebrate his birthday doesn't have to change. The wind blew out the candles. I looked at James in the photo. Finished making your wish. Then I'll eat the cake. I ate the whole cake bit by bit. Then touched my belly inside. I'm really getting fat. James in the photo looked at me, still smiling brightly. This moment, I touched Ronan's nape. I just sneaked out for a walk, I'm sorry. This hug seemed to reassure Ronan. And he hugged me even tighter. Don't you dare run around again. The doctors and nurses were all marveling at his love. For me, President Ronan is really afraid of losing Miss Selena. Is that so, Ronan? Are you afraid of losing me or the bride? Who would cooperate with you? In the farce of running away from the wedding. Although I sneered in my heart, I still hugged Ronan's neck tightly. Because I saw that at the end of the corridor, Luna was standing there. She looked at us hugging tightly. And her eyes were full of resentment. I knew Luna was panicked. Over the years when she looked at me, it was always like a cat looking at a mouse. It wasn't enough just to devour me. She had to play with me slowly to have fun. But now she finally felt out of control. Even though Finn had told her that Ronan couldn't possibly marry me, Luna still felt uneasy, because Ronan seemed to love me so much. Whenever I said I wasn't feeling well, He would immediately leave the company meeting and go home to accompany me. I pushed him away shyly. There are doctors and nurses. Why did you come back? He made porridge for me with a cold face and said, can they compare to me? I acted coquettishly and happily, and took small sips of the porridge from his hand. Luna called several times to ask Ronan to go out drinking. Ronan refused all of them. Luna then scolded him for valuing sex over friendship. He didn't refute either. He just smiled and said, I've been wild for over 20 years. Now that I'm getting married, it's time to settle down. Mom called me. She said Ronan might really become a good husband. For the sake of the evidence she gave me, I didn't hang up and listen patiently. Mom took a deep breath and tried to persuade me. I know what you want to do, but think about it again. Okay, Mom. With the experience of someone who's been through it, tells you that Ronan really loves you. I smiled and said okay. Then I hung up. She helped me, but she wasn't my ally, so I didn't need to tell her the truth either. I just clicked into the post titled, 10 Years of Loving a Girl. There was an I'm getting married to another girl. Let's call her Miss S. Miss S loves me very much. I'm the only one in her world. I can't let her down. Life is always like this. It's hard to have both the person you love and the person who loves you. Maybe I'm not a brave enough person. In the end, I chose the one who loves me. There were countless comments below, scolding the poster as a scumbag, but he seemed to accept it and didn't reply. Only one comment stirred. What if the girl you love also loves you? The poster, I'm tired. I've been thinking about whether she loves me or not. For 10 years I don't want to struggle with it anymore. Unless what? Unless she's willing to be brave for me once. Forget it, it's impossible. The wedding day finally arrived as scheduled. The Ronan family booked the best hotel in Jiangcheng. The guests coming and going were all celebrities. There were even self-media, people holding mobile phones to do live broadcasts. Some were invited guests, and some sneaked in to grab the spotlight. The waiters cleared the venue several times, but there were still people hiding in corners to take pictures. It was impossible to manage them all. I was wearing a white wedding dress, sitting in the dressing room. The makeup artist had just finished arranging my makeup and hair. The master of ceremonies was pacing around anxiously. Where's the groom? The master of ceremonies said anxiously. Why hasn't the groom arrived yet? What time is it already? I said I'll make a phone call to contact him. I put on a coat over my wedding dress, avoided everyone's sight, and ran all the way to the roadside. There was a car I had reserved in advance parked there. To the seaside. My James grew up by the sea and loved the sea the most. So for his wedding it naturally had to be by the sea. When the car was driving away it passed by another car. I saw Ronan inside, but he didn't see me. So he did come after all. Unfortunately it was already too late. Ronan rushed into the venue. He had drunk too much at the bachelor party the night before. When he woke up, there were only 15 minutes left before the wedding started, and Finn was still holding him back. Ronan, didn't you say you were going to leave? Sister-in-law hanging. Ronan rubbed his aching head from the hangover. He had indeed said that when he was drunk, but he regretted it. He thought about how Selena would look when she was left at the wedding. She would cry, right? Her eyes would look like those of a little rabbit. All red thinking of this. A fine pain had already risen in his heart. Kicking Finn away, Ronald asked the driver to speed all the way to the wedding venue. Selena. Ronald rushed to the dressing room, but then he froze. The dressing room was empty. Where's the bride? She just went out maybe. Maybe she's in the front hall. Ronan immediately rushed to the front hall. In fact, by this time he already had a bad premonition. Others didn't know Selena, but he did. The front hall was crowded with people coming and going. Selena had anxiety disorder. Logically she wouldn't go there alone. But he refused to believe in a worse possibility. Ronan rushed to the front hall. He saw a figure in a wedding dress with her back to him. That moment, Ronan was almost on the verge of crying with joy. Selena. The figure turned around. Ronan froze. It wasn't Selena. It was Luna. Luna walked up to Ronan. She raised her head like a beautiful and proud swan. Ronan, I'm willing to be brave for you this time. She thought she would see a touched expression on Ronan's face. But the fact was that Ronan took a step back. He was dazed and panicked. What are you talking about? Why are you wearing a wedding dress? Where's Selena? This was completely different from what Luna had imagined. She had invited many bloggers to do live broadcasts. On the surface, she said, it was to witness the wedding of the Ronan family. But in fact, she wanted everyone to see that Ronan had abandoned Selena and chosen her. The more people emphasize that they don't care about something, the more they actually care about it. Luna had lived for over 20 years. She always emphasized that she didn't compare herself with other girls. In fact, she liked comparing herself with other girls the most, especially with Selena. Selena was Luna's curse. She needed this victory, witnessed by everyone, to get rid of her inner demons of so many years. Her voice uncontrollably became shrill. Ronan, I love you. You said that as long as I was brave once, you would believe me. She wanted to hug Ronan, but Ronan dodged her. We're friends. As you said. What friends? You've clearly liked me for 10 years. Ronan's gaze could be described as panicked. Luna was so angry that she rushed to the side to pick up her own phone, wanting to find the post that Ronan had sent. A strange call came in at this time. Luna wanted to hang up, but somehow she pressed the answer button. Don't bother looking, I said with a light laugh. Finding that post won't help Selena. What are you calling for? Luna wanted to scold me, but suddenly she froze. Slowly Luna started trembling. You know about that post? Of course I know, I said with a smile. Luna, why didn't you think about it? Ronan has been abroad since middle school. After coming back to China, he even uses English when writing emails. How could he write such a long post in Chinese? At great length. Cold sweat ran down Luna's forehead, smudging her delicate bridal makeup. I said softly, I've been the one writing that post. From the very beginning. Since the first time I caught Ronan and Luna in an ambiguous situation, I wrote this post. At that time I didn't know yet that she was the one who killed James. I just wanted to take revenge, to retaliate for the harm she had done to me before. Now it's okay. Both old and new scores, we can settle them together. This wedding was a gift I prepared for Luna. I had been preparing for it for far too long. Under the gaze of all the guests, the warm VCR images on the big screen suddenly disappeared and were replaced by a harsh recording, playing in a loop. Dad, help me. I think I hit someone and killed them. Luna's sobbing voice echoed through the auditorium, again and again. Her face was as pale as a sheet. She rushed forward to smash the speakers, but the police who rushed into the wedding venue pinned her down. In the audience seats, Aziel, Luna's father, had a livid face, and Mrs. Aziel, who was my mother's side, softly picked up her bag and left silently. When being taken away by the police, Luna tried her best to throw herself at Ronan. Ronan, save me. Please save me. She grabbed the trouser leg of Ronan's suit. Ronan really crouched down. Infinite hope flared up in Luna's eyes. However, Ronan just picked up her phone that had fallen aside. Selena, Ronan said to the phone in a daze. Where are you? I was at the wedding venue. The wedding venue for me and James. In front of me was the boundless sea. To marry James, this was the only way I could do it. Selena, he let go of his hand, and the phone fell into the seawater, along with Ronan's hoarse shout. James, I'm coming to. Ronan heard the sound of the waves. He shouted at the top of his voice. Selena, don't be silly. Okay, come back. We can talk everything through. Selena. He let go of his hand, and the phone fell into the seawater, along with Ronan's hoarse shout. James, I'm coming to find you. Help, someone was shouting. James, did you hear that? It seemed that someone was shouting for help. There was no direction in the seawater. I swallowed a lot of seawater and saw an orange life buoy. A little girl threw herself at me. Sister, I dejectedly lowered my eyelids. I didn't live a happy life on earth properly. James was angry with me and refused to see me. The little girl's parents came up. They were a seemingly gentle middle-aged couple. They thanked me profusely, but I just let their words go in one ear and out the other, until the wife asked me hesitantly, "Excuse me, are you James' girlfriend?" I was stunned. It was such a strange term. James had been dead for many years. I thought that except for me, no one remembered him anymore. I knew it. The wife happily patted her husband. The little girl also happily. I heard it right, I said. There was always someone shouting the name James. In the sea, the couple told me that they used to be employees of James' father's company. When the wife's amniotic fluid broke, when she was pregnant, she couldn't get a taxi in the middle of the night. When James heard about it, he drove over immediately. I remember it quite clearly. There was a little rabbit on the passenger seat, holding a photo of you two, the wife said with a smile. I was in so much pain at that time that I couldn't bear it. James told me to divert my attention and kept saying to me, "Look at my girlfriend. Look at my girlfriend. Isn't she especially pretty?" I laughed and tears fell down. He was always like that, showing off our love regardless of the occasion. It was so annoying. I told him many times not to do that. The wife's eyes also turned red. I told him that she was so pretty, and he should cherish her. Well, he said he would cherish her and proposed marriage soon. A month later, James died in a car accident. A year later, I met Ronan. And then I found out that Ronan was Luna's friend. Fate has been spinning around, involving all of us in it. I stayed at the little girl's home. Her father had started his own business over the years and bought a villa by the sea. The couple said, "James saved Honey once back then, and you saved Honey again. There's a bond. You can stay here as long as you want." The little girl named Honey didn't know why, but she especially liked to be close to me. Although she had her own room, she always came to sleep with me every time. During the day, her parents went out to work, and only she and I were at home. Sometimes we went to the beach to dig for crabs, and sometimes we built sand castles. One day there was a heavy rainstorm by the sea, and we couldn't go out to play, so we had to stay at home and watch the rain. She pointed at the water stains on the window. "Does this look like a little dog?" "Quite like it." "This looks like a pig." "No, it looks like a cat." "What about this one?" "This looks like a very tall and handsome man." "Is it Brother James?" I smiled and said, "It really is." Suddenly Honey shouted, "Hey, a rabbit." I followed her gaze. It was Ronan. He had been standing in the heavy rain, holding a new rabbit. He didn't know how long he had been standing there. He was soaked through. I walked out. He looked at me and smiled bitterly. Luna has told me everything. Luna was sentenced to death in the first trial. She didn't just flee the scene after causing an accident, but committed intentional homicide. The reason for killing was that she liked James. But James liked me. Luna didn't expect that. The same thing would happen to Ronan. A second time. She couldn't believe it, and asked Ronan through the thick glass, "Dare you say that you've never loved me? How could you have never loved me?" Ronan paused for a moment and smiled. "Ironically, Luna, both of us know exactly what kind of people we are, don't we?" Both of them were too good at enjoying that kind of ambiguous relationship, of being neither close nor distant, casually hugging and kissing, and then casually claiming later that they were just friends. They kissed thousands of people with their mouths, but their true hearts remained unmoved. I just didn't expect that. I would be so reluctant to let Selena go. Ronan said softly, "If I had known earlier, I would have sent you to prison myself for her sake." This sentence completely broke Luna down. She screamed, "You love Selena? Then ask Selena if she loves you." "Ronan, you've been deceived. She approached you just to take revenge on me. The person she loves is called James." At this moment in the heavy rain, Ronan looked at me. "I can pretend not to know. Selena, let's go home. I can pretend not to know about James. Pretend that nothing has happened. As long as you come home with me." He tried to walk towards me. However, I took a step back. "Sorry, Ronan, I can't pretend." Suddenly he burst into tears. "Why? Aren't you good at pretending?" In the heavy rain, Ronan's eyes were red. "Didn't you pretend to love me? Even though you didn't at all before. You could do it before. Why can't you do it now? Is it because I'm no longer of any use to you?" Luna isn't dead yet. Ronan had no strength left. He bent down. The heavy rain pounded on his back. He knelt on the ground. Perhaps it wasn't love. It was just unwillingness. He said to himself. He couldn't bear the thought that Selena had never loved him. So he was willing to do whatever it took to get her back to his side, make her fall in love with him, and then take revenge on her, who let her keep using him. The thoughts in his mind were in a mess. When Ronan looked up again, he only saw Selena's back. The wind blew her final answer towards Ronan. Go and have a look at the rabbit I returned to you. The answers you'd care about are all on that rabbit. Ronan returned home soaking wet. He didn't bother to change his clothes and rushed towards the rabbit, placed on the sofa. After a long while, he found a letter in the little rabbit spacesuit. It was in Selena's familiar handwriting. The letter was addressed to James. James, it's been a long time since I last wrote to you. But today I have something very important to tell you. I've met Samion. Maybe it's fate. His name is a bit similar to yours. But he's nothing like you. You're like a puppy while he's like a kitten. He's very irritable, proud, and easily gets upset. But if you stroke his fur the right way, he'll lie on his back in the sun and purr at you. He's been very kind to me. When I'm sick, he'll come back to accompany me immediately. Person who didn't even know how to turn on the gas stove started learning to cook just because I said I wanted to eat the food he made. He cut his hand while chopping vegetables and scalded his foot while blanching them. After getting many injuries, he's finally managed to make scrambled eggs with tomatoes that are edible. He's so proud and said that he'll learn to make more dishes for me in the future. James the First love him very much and want to be with him and live a happy life with him till the end of my days. If you don't agree, send me a dream. I'll tell you more about him properly in the dream. The date at the end was 6 months ago. So back then she did love him. He wasn't anyone's substitute. Instead, she was really trying hard to get over the past pain and make room in her heart for him. She couldn't have done it any better. It was he who didn't do well. He was the one who lost her with his own hands. On that day, the sky after the rainstorm was clear and yet cruel. A man in a suit soaked through was holding a rabbit in a daze and crying his heart out. In winter I went traveling with Honey. She was very excited. As a child from the south, who had never seen snow before, she had a snowball fight in the snow with me. For a long time, after returning to the hotel, she still looked at the snowman under the window. Reluctantly, when I came out of the hot bath, I saw her pointing downstairs and saying, "There are 2 snowmen." I looked down. The other snowman was Ronan. He was kneeling in the vast expanse of white, covered with snow, and didn't move at all. I lowered my eyes and drew the curtain. "Will you forgive him?" Honey said. She was too young to understand what had happened. She just vaguely felt that it was a story about love and not loving. "Do you like your desk mate?" I asked. She blushed and said, "I don't like him." "Why?" I deliberately teased her. "'Cause he made me cry," Honey said angrily. I smiled and hugged her. "Yes, someone who truly loves you won't let you suffer even a little bit. So we shouldn't like the people who make us cry. What if I can't meet someone who truly loves me?" Honey was lost in thought. "It doesn't matter," I said softly. "Then love yourself and love the world." 27 James. I used to think that there would never be anyone like you. But now I understand. The wind is you. The clouds are you. The flowers are you, and a tiny hermit crab is also you. I will be happy as long as I'm with you.